Hi, my name is Foram. Welcome back to the Frappe Podcast. Today I have a set of very, very exciting people. Frappeverse is 2 days away and we have partners from Africa here. We have Mitesh, who is from Aakvatech, who is our gold partner, and we have Muchai from Navari. And I'm so excited to have them here, along with Ankita, who is our regional manager for Africa. And it's going to be a very exciting conversation. I want to ask you all, how are you guys feeling?
We are feeling nervous.
Good.
Good.
Are you excited for Frappeverse? Like, it's 2 days away.
We are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is your, how many Frappeverse have you all been to?
This would be my third one.
What has been your experience so far?
So far, so good, actually. I look forward to them. Yeah.
And you're giving a talk this year?
No. No, intentionally not.
Okay. What about you?
So this is my fourth one. And no talks
No
this time
talk.
either.
But excited to be here. It's nice that you
Absolutely.
all
It's
travel. Yeah.
Yeah. Always good to come and meet up the whole community.
Yeah. And must be a long journey also. I mean, you all must be tired from traveling. But it's so nice to see everybody in one place, no?
Yeah. Yes. A lot of people take a lot of pain to come here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. People come from around the world. So yeah, we are still here. We have direct flights from our country. So it's easier at least.
Yeah. And like the Africa partner meetup was today. How did that go?
Pretty good, I would say. The discussions tend to be a bit open. So that kind of helps a lot because you get to share a lot.
What is like something that comes up a lot in these discussions?
How to push the product more. Product awareness. Like that
Marketing.
is probably the key
Marketing.
part.
And that's also the biggest issue, I think. Like, whatever we discussed.
It is.
I think what we were talking about was primarily on the growth side. Especially like over here, we talk about the India growth. But like in the international market, we have so many markets that we focus on, and Africa is one of them. So having a word from all of them becomes very much crucial for us.
Yeah. And
So
it's just like live context also.
Correct. And that's very important for us because they are front facing us. So from hearing from them makes a lot of difference.
And plus, like, from like weekly catch-up calls, how much can we actually find out, right?
Correct.
And for you all also, it must be interesting to come and meet like the OEMs, come and meet the people who are actually making the product. And yeah, like, tell me about that.
Yep. So personally, I find this kind of a setup very good to have some more informal communications, have communications which are more open, more face-to-face. So you tend to get a lot more exchange of knowledge, exchange of ideas, exchange of the plans. So it definitely helps.
Yeah. I think we can like, before we go further, I want to know more about you all also. Like, I know you guys, but I want other people to know. So tell me about like how your journey led you to being a partner in the first place.
So personally, I used to work with Microsoft Dynamics. And then along the way, we switched to Frappe or ERPNext. There's a whole story around that, probably.
Yeah, but like what pushed you? And I know like, you know, the way you've grown up also, you wanted to like always do something of your own. And what pushed you towards like being an entrepreneur, but also in this sector?
So entrepreneur, I always wanted to start a business, probably because of family background for some reason. They were informal business people. And then Microsoft Dynamics, that's like almost 6-7 years of that. And then this project kind of led us to ERPNext because of some challenges.
Yeah, so you grew up in Kenya, right?
Yes,
Near Kenya.
yeah, born and grew up in Kenya.
And you studied there also.
And I studied all.
Yeah, and how was the local context there? Like how does it affect the way you do business?
Yes, so there are two things. Number one, sometimes I want to compare Kenya with India. There's a lot of young people with a decent education. So like you're kind of sure you'll get a team. And then, of course, small businesses, mostly manufacturers and distributors. So you're kind of getting businesses for ERP and so on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you grew up in Tanzania and you're local from there, but you're also Indian. Like, how does that, like, it's a very different contexts. And I would love to hear your perspective on you growing up as well.
Right. So it's a generation since our family shifted. And we're more Africans in terms of the culture than Indians. But I did have an opportunity to come here and do my primary and secondary education.
Okay.
and higher secondary. So I also have that insight of what is the mindset, the thinking, the competitive aspect of the Indian business and culture here. So mixing that with the very hospitable, very happy culture back in Tanzania, it merges very well. And while I was always in the tech part of the world, I used not to like computers so much.
Okay.
I actually was wondering, why do you have to teach it so much? And then, because it was all hype that computers will do everything back in 1880s and stuff. So I tried to stay away from programming. And then when my higher secondary was up, and then when I went back in Tanzania, I actually learned programming in Tanzania. So I didn't do any learning here while I was in my schools. And it's never stopped thereafter. I got some very good friends who helped me, who also stuck with me for a while. And my partner Mitesh Choksi is one of them at Aakvatech. And we also have a nice community of Indians back in Tanzania. Actually, outside India, you'll see it's a little bit of a close-knit, because the culture festivals happen, people meet up during Diwalis and stuff. So we've got good interactions with each and every one. And we have once in a while community outings, and it helps us to keep in touch.
And does that play into the way you do business also? Like, do people see it differently? Like, you're also selling a product that's made in India, right?
Right.
So does that make a difference?
Well, predominantly, most of the software is coming out of India. So, and in accounting world, Tally is like ubiquitous. It's everywhere. And people know about it. So people who are used to Tally also are, who operate Tally in many of the companies are Indian origin or Indians. And so we are already having that exposure of Indian software. So it's no different, but the difference is the way we bring the software into the market. And I think having a group of people that we have back in our office, we all have some specific passion about how Frappe ERPNext works and how it is to be used in a business. So it helps us all to grow together.
So India has a reputation in terms of software, at least in Kenya.
What kind of reputation?
Good reputation,
Okay.
of course, yes.
Yeah, and
I think
that
you're
helps,
good in
right?
software. That helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, do you use it as not like a selling point, but what has your experience been to sell this software?
Well, I always mention the product is from Mumbai. Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm using it for that purpose, but I know the positive.
How has been the influence of Indians in the African market in generally?
Marketing. So, like in Kenya, same as Tanzania, a lot of businesses, especially manufacturers, they tend to be of Indian families, origin, yes. But they're Kenyans. Kenya has a bigger population, I think, of Indians than in Tanzania.
Okay.
So a lot of businesses from Indians.
What about in Tanzania?
Yes, Tanzania also we have, it's like a mix now. But Indians have been in the trading business for a very long time, because the state of Gujarat, where most of us come from, we have that inbuilt to do the trading
business,
and do business. So, but then we also are well knit into the local community, and also a lot of other companies which is not Indian owned or Indian origin owned. We have workforce which are mixed. So yes, it's a place where we have Indians working and Indians owning businesses. There is a certain area where we have a lot of shops and some manufacturing industries as well, owned by Indian origin people. But yeah, so when we talk about Indian software, like he mentioned, it is understandable that it is going to be a good choice.
What are your first stories with Frappe, and this includes you also, Ankita. What is your first story with Frappe? How did you all get introduced to Frappe or ERPNext, or what was the first interaction? I want to know that story.
So I came across Frappe before I even started doing ERPNext. I think that was either 2015 or so. But I was more interested in Frappe framework, the whole metadata stuff. I was a technical. I've always been a software developer in my career. So that was kind of interesting to me. But it's not like I took it up. But then when we started working with ERPNext and we had our first customer, so now we started customizing on Frappe framework. So it's pretty good, frankly speaking.
Yeah, like you've always mentioned that you are more of a functional person. Like you like to do the like development part of work, and so like being introduced to it must be quite unique. And I'm glad you carried on with it also. What about you, Mitesh?
Similar timings, 2015, I came across Frappe framework. It talked website. It talked about doc types. It has some documentation, and I didn't understand. So I left it off because I was always looking for a web-based access, so to say. Microsoft Access was very intriguing because you're allowed to put in the fields, and you can also you don't need to go to the database. It does it all on its own. So it was always a wish that somebody somewhere must have made something which is for a web, but it's access. And since Microsoft didn't have that option, people used to look around, and I was doing the same. Then I didn't understand it, so I left it. Then I had seen a few more others, like the Laravels and the likes. And it just left off because I was looking for a very easy to make a web application for my department that I used to work for. And then I went back to Access and I did it in Access. So after that, I never came up to my radar. Actually, I came up to know that I saw Frappe framework after I found Frappe framework more useful in 2019 or so. When 2018, I think, when my partner Mitesh Choksi found it for an invoicing requirement of a customer, and I was just switching. I just stopped my job at that time. And when I saw that, I think in an hour or so, I was like, what have I missed all this while? Because it was like something I was looking for so many years, and I never came through my eyes before that. So I immediately told him this is an amazing product and then you should go for it. And then we started working on it. So then I tried to look up my Google search history to see how did I miss it. And then I figured out in 2015 I had passed through it, and then I recalled that it did not make sense at that point in time to me.
Yeah, a lot of people have this, right product, wrong time kind of experience, where they either felt like the product was not ready, or they were not in the space to use that product, or whichever the case was. And then they come across it and they're like, oh, this works now. Like, let's do this now. And it's a very nice, full circle story that, you might have missed out on something, but you came back to it in the end.
Yeah. I never looked back for sure.
My story has been very, very different actually. So like I got connected to Frappe through open source community. So I got to know that there were a lot of exciting work which was happening in open source. One of my family relatives suggested that you should actually look into what kind of work is going in open source projects. And I'm a legal professional. I have done my studies in the legal side. So I was very curious that what work has been going on in open source, how is the compliance is going on. So that's when I got into the entire FOSS community. So I came through the FOSS community or the open source community. And then I started following Rishabh on LinkedIn. And then it got me very exciting that how is the culture working out in terms of democracy? How are even people working there? So that was very exciting for me. So I did not connect with the product as first, but I connected with the culture first. So that was one of my exciting moments. And then, of course, the product came along with it. But where I connected was primarily the culture.
Yeah, and that's a good segue. Like, I want to know you guys' perspective on open source as well. Was that a selling point for you to do Frappe and ERPNext, or was that just a add-on benefit?
Open source, I was always familiar with open source, and the philosophies around it, which I kind of probably lean on a bit. But we actually took ERPNext because of cost. Someone said, okay, I've moved from this company that was doing Dynamics. I've moved to this other company, but they don't have a budget for Microsoft Dynamics. So do you have a solution for us? So I'm like, there's this product called ERPNext. We can come and do it for you. And then that's how we did it. So actually, which takes us back to the question of why did you, like when Mitesh and I say we saw Frappe in 2015 and then abandoned it. I think it's not the product not being ready. It's more like, it's like you don't have a problem to solve with it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
So-
like the open source plays into that, right? It's free because it's open source, right? And
Yes.
it's affordable because it's open source.
Exactly.
Yeah. What about you?
Back in the time when I finished my schooling and I was in the UK, I picked up on a computer parts sale shops 3 CDs of Red Hat Linux. It was 3 at that time. And I picked it up because I did not know what it was. And I heard Linux from places, but I did not know what it was about. But I didn't know it was open source. And then I caught onto it. I started using it at my work. As one of the first thing to do for me was to set up a dial-up server or something. And to do that, we had to learn Linux because it was the only place to get started. And there was nobody else to learn and implement it. And so I thought, let me give it a shot. So it was all black and white screens to read a lot of documentation from those CDs and then run through it. That's how I realized how much power open source has in terms of people contributing. Because when you are learning and if you're not exposed to open source, you would always think of code that is supposed to be preserved and probably kept private and not disclosed to anybody because that was your bread and butter. But when I saw this open source, it definitely opened up my thinking and helped me to see beyond just securing the code. And I've always been enthusiast of it. I keep reminding myself and telling other friends that, you get younger at times from where you are. So I got younger when I got hold of Linux and started using it. Then I got younger again when I got Android on hands. And then I got younger again when I went to the ERPNext.
I think that's a compliment we've never heard before, but I love it.
Yeah, but I get what he's saying.
Go backwards in your age.
You really get excited like a kid. You can actually do a lot of stuff and you can see the possibilities and to demonstrate your creativity.
Yeah.
Without being kind of held back of not knowing the syntax, not knowing the complication of the programming language. And that low code, no code is a really striking matter there. Yeah.
Plus, like, if your customer has any unique problem, you are in a place to like create a customization, create an app if they need it, and solve that problem. And that makes it such a big selling point to know that you can solve almost anything because you have your hands on the actual code and you have the framework to build something on it, right? And the code is like not just the code, the products are better because they're open source.
So the open source aspect is well understood by the tech people, and it may not be so much clear to the business guys, but I think what they see for, and I'm sure even Muchai has done demos, and during a demo you would like show things that, like I had a situation whereby somebody was counting the number of time the coffee beans are ground, and that they would like to keep a track of it because it was a restaurant. And while going there to understand what the customer requirements was, and you show them a screen done right there and then while discussing, it's mind-blowing to the user who is in the business. So then they can start recording the number of times, the date and time gets recorded automatically. They really feel it is something.
Yeah, and you're like, you got the project right there, right? You don't need to say also anything else that this is good because of these things. You're just showing it.
Yes, open source kind of gets the creativity out. That is for sure. I think what can people connect to is that we are solving a problem for them. And solving to their needs. So I think the product is designed in a way that it can solve people's problem. So I think that flexibility with other ERP solutions, that becomes a problem. So there's one customer which came out to us that we chose this product just because of its flexibility. We like things which are much more flexible rather than rigid. Like it's thrown upon us that, okay, you have to do this only. Like whatever process we have, we can do it in the product.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be the product is telling us that we need to do this process. The process should be defined in a way that the product can be able to do it. So that's what I think. That having said that, that being the landscape, I think ERPNext fits very nicely into these needs.
And speaking on a more regional level, is there this much adoption, like the way you're talking about it? Is there this much of an easy adoption for the product, or do you have to convince your customers and sell it really hard?
So adoption is something we are building, like a community, I think, and probably Ankita knows that a lot. But when they see the product, you can see the magic in their eyes because it kind of addresses the problem. So I would say that. So like that's why we were saying the partner meetup we had for Africa partners. One of the biggest issues that was being addressed is product awareness. How do we build this? Because people really don't know the product. But when they get to know the product and you showcase, it's wonderful. I would say that.
Like, is there anything that you're specifically doing to build that awareness on, like, not just Navari, but like on a regional level?
Yeah, we have had 2 locals in Africa. 3 actually. 2 in Kenya and 1 in Tanzania so far with Frappe. We post a lot on LinkedIn. We do webinars. We do customer stories, even videos like testimonials and so on. And then we do local labs, of course, or localizations for that matter. Because those help enhance the awareness of the product.
Yeah, I think one of the compliance apps we've spoken about before, right? Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, I think Africa is picking up on what we call invoicing for that matter, most countries at the moment. So the compliance app is basically what we call e-tips. It's invoicing where you're connecting your invoicing system with the revenue authority. In this case, Kenya Revenue Authority. But it's the same for Tanzania, it's the same for Rwanda, it's the same for Zambia. I have seen it in Nigeria now, Uganda, Burundi, and so on.
Is there like government adoption for open source products? Are they promoting it?
I think there is, because recently we have almost come across showing interest from government sector about open source project. It has been in the government of Kenya. It has been in Rwanda specifically. It has been coming in South Africa also. Like in South Africa, the government is talking about OSS policy. So that is there, like people are talking about, and government is trying to promote in some way or the other, I think. Having said that, I think I agree with Muchai that there are some of the regional challenges which are there, like in terms of compliances, because like as Frappe, we are not present there. So of course, there is something that we need to address in terms of compliances, like in terms of e-invoicing, even local hosting, and even same currency transactions. Like whenever they're doing transactions, they can do it in local currency. So I think those adaptabilities, we are still working on it. I think we'll get there. I think once we are building the ecosystem, so we can get there.
Yeah, but like making policies is one thing. Like how much is actually happening?
Talking from the Tanzanian point of view, we see that the government is using open source, but may not be making it open source, because they are also experimenting with their products, their business processes. Some things they need to keep it closed source because of their own reasons. But they definitely are only using open source for their development work. Okay. When it comes to having some operations to be automated, they don't have specific requirements, but they have a preference of open source. So they prefer if it is open source, because then they know they are not tied down because of one or the other licensing reasons. And they also have their own budget constraints. So if you have a licensed product which is requiring to be paid on a regular basis, it does eat into their budget for other expenditure, which they would like to retain for maybe more important work in their point of view. So yeah, open source projects are in minds of the IT people, but I would consistently seen that the result of open source is required by everybody. So they may not know that they need open source, but they definitely know they need flexibility. They do not know they need open source, but they definitely know that they need to be relieved from the licensing costs. So having that mindset or rather we need to kind of bridge their thinking to say, yes, you need this. These are your needs in the software, and they can be fulfilled with open source.
So you guys are responsible to be like, we have a solution, just listen to us for 1 second.
Right.
I think people cannot even think about that ERP can be without license. I think because there have been so many companies already in the ERP space, especially SAP being there for a really long time. I think they have been the pioneers in ERP, followed by Microsoft Dynamics, NetSuite. I think there are many companies in the ERP space which primarily does their business in licensing way. So I think they cannot even believe that there is something which is without license. I think that kind of a mindset change is still very difficult for any customer to even accept.
Yeah, that is the biggest problem. Like, a lot of Indian partners have said that people think that the software space or service is also free. Like, are there any such perceptions in your regions as well?
So again, there is open source and then there is free open source. So we also have to be letting everybody know as to where we are standing. So because it's a free open source, and that to an ERP like Ankita mentioned, it's unbelievable. And the first thing that will come in mind is it won't be a complete product. And then when we show that it is more than complete what they knew, they would still be wondering, what are we getting out of it? So I think the open source aspect, and then to free, and then to it's a whole full-fledged ERP is unbelievable. So that's the first kind of soothing of their emotions has to be done, first of all. And then we have a very easy sale thereafter, and making sure that their original objectives of flexibility, of no licensing cost, of low maintenance, or rather the support costs, that definitely sells easy. There are times that people still need to have a certain name of the product in the market, which is what we are all trying our best to build one. We have the support from Frappe. We have our own efforts going in from our team members to get the implementation done right. So yeah, I think all hands put one or the other efforts to make this more acceptable, more understandable, and visible product in the market.
Muchai, do you want to add anything to this?
Yes. As we are speaking, I keep thinking, I think there's an underappreciation of open source and the power it kind of offers, if I might use the word. For starters, as Ankita is saying, we have seen cases where people are coming looking for open source specifically. And I think even in government, I have seen similar 2 or 3 cases of late. And they are really keen on open source. And then there's all this geopolitics. Well, now people are realizing they need to kind of own stuff. And then even from a technical point of view, you kind of start to appreciate open source when you meet even an app in the Frappe ecosystem that is not open source. Because now there you can't, assuming you want anything fixed, then you lack the power to go and fix it. And if you're not getting support from the person who developed the application, then you're kind of stuck. Literally, you stop using it because now this is not your world.
It's a dead end.
Yeah, it's the dead end, right? So I think we need to sell open source more. I think it's not appreciated as it should, and that's why probably Mitesh is saying when we are selling, you're selling more features. Open source doesn't click. I think its power is not appreciated.
I think it's about what functionality it can give you,
Yeah.
how it will help your business, and that your data will still be secure, and you'll not face the same issues, etc.
Exactly.
But when you all get together, as an ecosystem, as all the partners in Africa, not just today, but in general, when you'll have meetups there, it must be so refreshing to not have to explain, no, that this is the power of open source, why ERPNext is great, and you must be getting a lot of community building and growth conversations out of those meetings. Like, how does the community usually interact with each other there?
The community, when we meet up together, and while in Tanzania we don't have a structure, when we come back here during the Frappeverse, it's definitely refreshing to see people, what they have done and what they have done in the past 1 year, because year on year you now become more better friends. You learn from each other a lot more. And there's obviously the normal community support that you get because we greatly benefit from development skills in the community, from maybe functional skills in the community, and there are so many Telegram groups where we can interact and share information. So when we come as a community, we are looking forward to, first of all, improving our friendship and then going ahead and sharing our experiences and seeing what else can be done, because everybody has one or the other very intriguing problem that they have resolved in a very unique manner,
Right.
which is at least good to learn, and then at times when needed, apply.
Can you give me an example? Like, I would love to know.
So, 2 Frappeverses back, we had the National Dairy Corporation demo done, and it has helped me now understand how in cow milk processing and end-to-end, how it has been used, how the software has been used to make sure that it delivers the record keeping, it delivers the reporting. And when a dairy farm back in Tanzania requires it, I at least have a very good reference, first-hand discussions that has been done, and also better domain knowledge now. So that's just one example, and there are so many of them that we come across during Frappeverse.
And do you work with other partners? Have you all ever worked together on a project?
We have worked with other partners or upcoming partners, actually other partners and upcoming partners.
I think they have become now pioneers, both of them. So I think I would give a lot of credit to them because they have been the firsts in the ecosystem. And the time that we have been working in the African market, I think we have got really good support from both of them, really. And they have also worked a lot on their part to actually grow the ecosystem. I think they are very much we can actually see them as Frappe employees itself. That they have worked so much to grow the ecosystem. And it has actually got the ecosystem so together because we could actually see it during Frappeverse Africa. When we had our first overseas, it was so it was like home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone was so connected. Everyone was coming. So we didn't have to do marketing as such. Of course, we present and all, but there was naturally a lot of people who were coming in.
I love that. Must be, how does it feel for you guys to be the, pioneers of this movement? Must be scary in the beginning, but now it's all worth it, right? But I want to know from you guys.
Long way to go. Still.
Yeah, long way to go. But let me say, it's not scary, number one. So it's like if someone asked you, why do you do what you do? It's there's an intrinsic motivation. I have thought about it for the last probably 1 week since we had that conversation. And then I realized maybe I kind of enjoy it somewhat.
Yeah.
It's you want to see an uptick of this. And I know the value it can give to people because I know the society there. So maybe that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But there has to be some intrinsic motivation and passion is one thing. But if you look at it practically, you need the belief that this is going to grow for sure. Where do you guys get that from?
So I'm a very strong believer that this kind of a product has not been found before. And that solutions it brings in is very powerful. So that feeling alone, that belief alone is good enough for us to go in, because we go with strength to the market and we go with a hope to spread this goodness out there. So these things are easy in that manner. And I'm sure there are people who have been in this ecosystem in Africa, in Tanzania, before probably both me and Muchai. And they probably did not go beyond their scope of work that they had. We were just at that point in time that we had to do a services business, and we got this started. But there has been users in Tanzania since a long time before even I knew about Frappe. And they have been using, like there is a maternity hospital that I've come to know who was using it for a long time before this. So yeah, people have been finding the solution via the channel of internet and figuring it out. And we know the story of Zeroda, how they came to learn about ERPNext and Frappe. And many people have gone through that cycle. And I would say that we're just one of those people who were in a business of selling services on top of ERPNext. And the whole urge to do business plus having a very powerful product as our backing, we managed to move forward.
And I think there's one more point to that, is that you're not just running a business, you all are also building a community. And that doesn't happen with all services, right? Some services exist independently. But this service only majorly exists because there is a community. And you growing the community and the product growing you is like it's interconnected, like it's interdependent, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that cycle starts running then, and that's what keeps us moving forward. And that is the reason that we like to have more partners in our countries. I know Muchai is doing a lot to also brew up the partners back in Kenya, and we have tried our portion to do that in Tanzania as well and other countries. And we will always continue doing this, not because of it giving any direct material benefit to us, but at least it gives us happiness. And secondly, it increases the community, that is an ecosystem that is so much necessary to reduce, so to say, the sufferings of businesses going to other IT solutions.
Yeah, and if there's one thing that you would use to convince them, what would it be?
Before I answer that, can I say something?
Of course.
So at this point, I'm kind of convinced, well, someone would have to prove me otherwise. The companies that cannot use the ERPNext in Kenya are countable.
Okay.
Yes. Frankly, most can use the ERPNext satisfactorily for their business. And then they would cut cost immensely for that matter. So what was the question before?
Yeah, if you had to use one thing to convince people to either start a service business with ERPNext or adopt it for their own company, what would that one thing be?
It's worth it. It's totally worth it, I would say. Worth it in terms, if you're building your business around it and you're willing to spend some time to invest in being capable, by capable, I mean learn the products and so on, then I bet you'll build a business around it because I have seen it happen for those who are willing to spend some time on this. For the customers, it solves their problems at a decent cost, I would say that. Yeah.
So his point before answering your question was already the answer to your question, that it's not many companies out there cannot use ERPNext. And not many companies out there, after using ERPNext, will not be possible that they're not saving money. They will definitely save money. And apart from the usability and the money aspect, they will grow. The whole aspect is it allows you to scale. It allows your business to scale because it is ready for delegation, it is ready for accountability, traceability, which is what growing businesses and scalable businesses require.
Yeah.
And means we have seen some ridiculous amount of data going into the system, and we are definitely proud to be associated with Frappe's ERPNext. And we've been talking about ERPNext, right? Which is definitely the main product and very comprehensive. But even other aspects, other products that now Frappe is coming out with is very useful in the industry. And the thought process to build them is the same. And so we're looking forward to a better future hereafter as well.
And with of course, with the adoption of ERPNext, the other products like our newer products become easier, right?
Yeah.
To sell.
So while the look and feels are different in the other products versus ERPNext, so the user learning of navigations will be different, but the aspect that it has similar concepts, it definitely helps. So if we have look at this help desk product, it has a desk and it also has the actual interface where the agents and the customers use. So for the customer, it looks different because it's a customized front end. But at the end of the day, the background, it gives you the flexibility. So a person who is using help desk as an agent or as the manager is getting all the flexibilities of ERPNext. So yes, it's easy to adapt the other products. It's easy to adapt also because the Frappe's thinking behind it is helping. So yeah.
So I think where I kind of position even ERPNext whenever I put it to even customers is it's flexible and it's affordable. So I think these two things kind of flies. They come to us for an affordable solution, plus they come for us for flexibility in the product. So that's like first of the firsts. Like ERPNext is like first of the first because there's hardly any affordable ERP solutions which are there in the market. Of course, like we do have Odoo, which is open core, but of course they also have license. So like it's the only product which is like license free. So automatically it becomes affordable. So I think having said that, yeah, so I think also like there's an ecosystem which even Frappe is building around the product of ERPNext. Like we have Frappe School, we have LMS, we have help desk, we have insights. So now it's not just ERP, it's solving your business problems. It's going beyond
just a product.
Product. We are just becoming like a Frappeverse now.
Yeah, quite.
So that's why, so that's why I think it's very exciting that the name also came like Frappeverse. We are creating like a complete universe ecosystem around all business problems.
Our partners are the most important thing to grow this, right? So the more tools we give our partners, which is you guys, and like the more feedback we get from you all is most effective, I think. But I do want to ask you, like, you've been managing Africa partners for a while, and how have you seen that grow over the past couple of years?
So I would say, like, of course, it has grown in terms of partners. It has grown exponentially, and kudos to the partners also that they have been very accommodating, because of course we are not physically present there. So they need to do all the training by themselves. They need to learn the product. Of course, from our side, we do the hand holding in terms of the partnership and all of that. But I think the people who are not in the partnership but in the ecosystem, I think partners are playing a very big role to get them also into the partnership and sharing the value with them, that what value they have got from the partnership. I think like when we started like around in 2020, I think we had 2 partners. I think it was Muchai and Mitesh only, and then we now have around 27 partners. So it has grown. I would definitely say it has been grown. The journey has been ups and downs, but it has grown, and we are getting recognized. Of course, there are growth blockers, industry specific issues. Of course, every region has that. But I think we are getting there. I think the product is solving a problem and it is going to get addressed in the African market for sure.
Yeah, and
because we are there.
It is one of our fastest growing regions, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's in the top 3.
It is, yeah. Since you mentioned the challenges that are getting solved, what are the biggest challenges for you guys, whether it's structurally or logistically or perception-wise also?
I would say that the market has been flooded with many types of products. And on the ERP level, where ERPNext goes into the business, we have the likes of the Microsoft Dynamics and the SAPs. And then there is this Tele ERP, which is what they call it ERP with that functionality that they have. But I would say that the market has been asked to pay a lot more than what is delivered. So we are there to go with yet another product and then try to prove that we are not the same. And that is why the challenge comes into picture. So how do we convince that we are not yet another company who is going to fleece them, right? And in order for us to prove ourselves to them, we need to do some new things. We need to do something extra. And that's where the power of the framework comes into picture. We now have e-Teams integration in Kenya. We have the IFRIS in Uganda. In Tanzania, we have VFD providers, which is like the e-invoicing with 3 different providers. And I would say that such unique things which others cannot or do not want to offer is what we do it. But it gives relief to our customers. And those types of compliance, so to say, and also solutioning the product to make it usable in the market helps to gain more confidence, and then the word of mouth spread. This is how we have all then started moving. So a couple of customers, then the word of mouth spreads. And I talked with my team and we all agree on that if a user of a customer is not happy using ERPNext, then we have not done our job, because they are the ones who take the toil to go through a system, to enter the records, and they should be the first in the mind to be served and reduced with their problems. So yes, no product and no software is smooth. There are always those edge cases that comes in. But because of the flexibility we have and the faith we have in the Frappe team, we know it's going to be sorted out.
What do you think?
The challenges? I always stick with product awareness. That would be the challenge. People just don't know the product and what value it can offer. The other small challenges, but those we can jump once we kind of get product awareness out.
Like, are there more on the technical side of it?
And the technical side of it, there'll be always feature requests.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel whatever we have, at least we'll get you somewhere. I'm not saying we have small features. We have a lot of functionalities in ERPNext and the other products. But first, I was saying, the first thing is, can we get people at least do the first step into the door? Then we start there.
Yeah, I think they should first know about it.
Yes, and then let's address this functionality that maybe could be missing for that matter. The next thing, of course, is the ecosystem. And now we are talking here of the people. If customers come, we need people who can implement this. We need developers who can customize this where need be, for example. At least in Kenya, I feel the ecosystem is growing. Even the people who are willing to invest, even developers who are willing to invest to learn the framework now. Like in Kenya, if you come, most Python guys we know Django. So I feel Frappe framework is kind of becoming that slowly. But I feel we are getting there.
And is there more adoption about the framework, like young people learning the framework and trying to get jobs in this industry?
At the moment, we have 6 developers. We have other developers who came and kind of moved to other roles. And we have like this agreement. It's like a gentleman agreement. Like we need to kind of, how do I put it? Talk about Frappe framework because it's valuable. And if it's valuable for your careers, it could be valuable probably for your peers for that matter. So I see a lot of uptake and I see a lot of people who even approach us for like roles.
So is there an entry point for college students? Like in this way, is there an entry point for them to learn?
Yes, there's always an entry. If we have a position, someone can always join or interns. But for us, especially, we really hire based on projects. There must be a project so that we feel when you join, you're actively on something because that's the way I feel at least you can learn rather than you just showing up.
So team changes depending on the project.
Yeah, depending on the project. But see, if you're kind of willing to spend some time on Frappe framework, I feel you can build a lot. Because if they're building products on other frameworks, they can build using the Frappe framework. And if they are willing to go a bit further, I feel it's easier to monetize some of these solutions, for example, than if you're saying, I'm starting to build an application from Django. You could build a vertical on ERPNext or other solutions. You'd monetize faster. That's my selling line, at least to potential developers.
I think Muchai actually raised a very good point with regard to brand awareness. So I think that has been like the talking point for us even in the meetup was also that how we create the brand awareness. Like there are other competitors in the market who are like shedding money on marketing and they're just doing it.
Yeah.
They're just going in the market and just,
yeah.
they're just doing it. So what should we do? Like, I think it's of course like money is not the factor like for us also, but I think in that process we also lose out on authenticity. So I think we have to be very authentic wherever we are approaching, and the process also should be very authentic because somewhere or the other we are not a D2C brand or anything like that. We are solving business problems. So I think that level of marketing, like we also don't know, we also like racking our brains of what is the best way to solve this problem. But I think it will take some time, but we will get there where we have an authentic process to solve the marketing issues
problems,
that we are facing. Coming to like training, which you even asked, is that I think the landscape is very different. Like in India, the landscape of learning and all of that is much, much, much better. In Africa, it is growing, but it is not yet there. So there is obviously a curiosity to learn. I think that's even the brand awareness plus training goes hand in hand. Because of brand awareness, people will start getting trained. Like for example, because of AI, people now started taking courses in AI. It's of course, we don't know if it's going to be a bubble or whatever.
Yeah, but that's optimizing the future.
Correct. So it's just brand awareness of AI, which is making courses or training courses on AI that people are thinking about.
Yeah, which is what we need to do. Like we've not done like guerrilla marketing or like billboard kind of marketing yet. And
AI has not done any kind of billboard marketing. That is how it is.
They solve the smallest stuff, like ChatGPT, so for some people solve the smallest of problems.
Correct.
And that is more of a motivation factor than anything else will ever be. So I don't think we can compete with that because ours is more of a business
correct
outlook on it. Yeah.
Correct. But still that like people have actually started working towards AI. Like it has created so much of brand awareness. Like everyone is talking about AI, but they have not done any kind of marketing. Yes, now ChatGPT, they have started, OpenAI has started doing marketing around it. But when it started, it was not there. The marketing was not there.
Yeah. So to like, close off this conversation, I want to ask a question. If there was one problem with everything that we've discussed, with all the contacts that we've discussed today, if there's one problem you could instantly solve, like what would that one thing be?
With regard to the product,
region, anything that we've discussed.
I would build more product awareness. That's the current problem now.
Yeah, I think Muchai has been really, adamant on the fact that this is the biggest problem. And I completely agree. Like our marketing product awareness is something that we need to fix.
Frappe framework is like a virus. Once you get used to it, you look for such features everywhere. And when you have forms to fill in, online forms to fill in these days, for many of the systems that are out online, you always look for the way you can do things in Frappe. And I sometimes wonder why not people use Frappe framework in their applications. So the problem that I would like to solve is to bring in that kind of flexibility that Frappe framework comes in a lot of and many of this online functionality that is out there. So yeah, awareness is definitely required for people to know that something like that exists. But the problems also exist that has to be solved by the product.
Yeah, yours is more of a compliment actually.
I think like one customer came to me and said to me about ERPNext is underdog. So I think we are still underdogs.
Yeah, we are underdogs. We don't realize our own worth, first of all.
Correct.
We don't do enough marketing for ourselves. And like we're building well, but we need to get out there.
Correct. So they actually said it very well. We are underdogs. I was like, yeah, I agree.
We definitely are.
Yeah.
Every time I do a demo and I get a response, I share with Ankita. Then I'm like, that's why I'm willing to die on this product awareness seal, because you can see the uptake or the response.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this podcast.
Thank you so much having with us. And you have been a very good host.
Thank you.
No, I'm really glad you guys are here. Please enjoy Frappeverse. Of course, it's 2 days away and I'm very excited to see all the new things. It's my first Frappeverse as well. So I think you all have much more experience than me in this regard. But again, thank you so much for being here. And I hope your trip to India is very, very successful and fun and all of that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching the Frappe podcast. See you in the next episode.